Hey guys, welcome to Get Busy Watching. I'm your host, Honest Dan, and coronavirus ain't gonna stop me from doing what I love doing. Unless it's Mass Effect Andromeda, and Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice, and Final Fantasy 15, and Final Fantasy 10. In the Outer Worlds, I've been playing a lot of video games, but let's keep it in focus, and let's talk movies. While my full review of the first Trolls movie can be found in the description below, summed up, I thought it was just okay. I like it more now than I did back in 2016. The cynical humor is what really got me through. The voice acting from Anna Kendrick and Justin Timberlake really shined through, and Branch being my favorite character. There was just enough to prevent me from disliking the movie as a whole. With that said, I thought the humor was inconsistent, I thought some themes could have been really pushed, and I will never truly forgive it for turning Sound of Silence into a happy-ish folk song. Regardless, I did have slightly higher hopes than I probably should have for the upcoming sequel. Before going into it, I just wanted the music to make sense. I didn't want easy rock songs to be showcased. And I didn't know this before filming my prediction in the last video, but I had no idea that the crazy ex-girlfriend herself, Rachel Bloom, was playing the main villain. Suddenly this sequel got a lot more intriguing. Anyway, I wasn't expecting much, just the same old kids movie for kids kind of deal, but now that I've seen it, twice now, saw it with my mom, so how does it hold up? I think I'm more in line with IMDb's 5.6 out of 10, rather than Rotten Tomatoes' critic score of 83%. Let's start with some positives. Rachel Bloom as Queen Barb, because of course. On a very selfish level, I was kind of hoping she'd win. I'm not always a fan of pop or techno, so a world of only rock and metal, yeah, I was kind of on her side. Sidelining that nonsense, I just love any scene with her in it. Also, the film's most genuine smiles that I got came from the rock trolls. Her rage issues, Bloom's energy is so infectious that I couldn't help but keep my eyes glued to what she was doing. Her weirdly sweet relationship with her father, King Thrash, voiced by Ozzy Osbourne. And what can I say? I love my cynical humor. Bloom was the saving grace of the entire movie. And there was also this joke that had me howling with so much laughter, I had to pause it the first time I heard it, just to get all the laughter out of me. Who's ready to get ripping tattoos everywhere but our faces in case we still need office jobs? Smaller positives include, I love how underutilized Ozzy Osbourne is. It's so pointlessly minimal that I still kind of adored it. I did get a giggle out of the epic visual that was the Pinky Promise. This one's about to be more of a half and half, some good and bad woven into it. The new troll designs. I thought the techno trolls had a really cool look, making them look like neon mermaids. But the country trolls, they're centaurs. They're centaurs. Fine, centaurs are half human, half horse, but they're half horse, half troll. I don't know what that is in any form of fantasy out there, but they wouldn't be trolls anymore. I tolerated Cooper because I assumed he was a jacked up looking giraffe, as a nod to the original troll animals that Thomas Dam created. But I have no idea why the country trolls needed 4 legs. Because country and horses are so closely related, so are shotguns in the back of pickup trucks. Easy fix, just make them horses. Another half and half that I feel pretty compelled to mention is the Pinky Promise. I do enjoy the over-the-top weight given to it, but when the inevitable moment comes that Poppy breaks that promise, there's not an equal negative blowback. All that really happens is that Biggie gets upset and leaves the party. Very anticlimactic if you ask me. But now it's time for the negatives. Get comfy because there are plenty. The first issue that I took with the film was the relationship between Branch and Poppy. They're basically doing the Frozen 2 thing, where the guy has something important to say to the girl, but can't seem to get the right words out. And it was a dated cliche even when Frozen 2 did it. It even goes so far as the two failing a high five, and Poppy says, well, for some reason we can't make a good connection. Heavy-handed. But if that wasn't bad enough, Poppy is really unlikable in this. Her character arc is more or less the same as it was in the original. Things aren't as simple as they seem. Oh, it's gonna be easy to rescue our friends. Get in, get out, go home, easy peasy. But here is so much worse. At least in the original, she listened to Branch's advice. She followed his lead. It was the whole point of him coming along. She knew he was prepared to face off with the Bergens. But here, she's a queen, and she's way too reckless. Whereas her reckless nature could have flown in the original, actually it didn't. She almost died, and it was Branch who saved her. Now she has an entire people to think about. Having optimism is great, and the intention to bring peace between estranged tribes should certainly be Plan A. But any great leader takes precautions in case things go south. Branch and King Peppy take precautions, and Poppy just throws them out. She was clearly not ready to be queen. Second, Queen Barb's motivations. Why does she want everyone's music streams? Yes, to unite everyone under one nation of rock, but didn't she already have that? Like, in her territory? A territory of trolls dedicated to rock? Why go out and change everyone else? It just seems kind of pointless. Third, it's revealed later on that music has evolved beyond the core 6 musical genres. Why don't they have their own music streams? It's clear that jazz and K-pop don't have them, so how does this work? But my absolute biggest problem with the story is that it's just another bland intolerance tale. We're all the same, but it should be okay that we're all different. Yeah, I've seen this moral done 1,000 times over. It's kind of a rehash of the first movie if you really think about it, and it's not done in a clever way here. But you know what this could have done to set itself apart? Been an insightful look into music and why each individual genre of music is popular. Weirdly enough, I understand some of what this movie was getting across. I can't count how many times I have to hear, "Country music is lame, it's only sad songs," and other ignorant crap like that. Yeah, sure, I can play that game. Rap and hip-hop glorifies sex, drugs, and violence. See what's happening here? Intolerance, ignorance. Instead of being a message about accepting one another in a general sense, why not be a movie that advocates all forms of music? If this movie wanted to be a great film, it would defend all genres of music, critique all forms of music, and maybe satirize them since this is a comedy. What makes rock so great? What's there to criticize about techno? How can we make fun of pop? But more importantly, how can these genres relate to each other? And how can we get those who are inclined to a specific genre to understand why others are drawn to them? This movie doesn't necessarily have to say listen to all forms of music and be fans of music that doesn't appeal to you, but rather convey why they are appealing to their respective audiences. It's clear that this is tapped into, like when Branch actually likes the sad song that Delta Dawn sings, and there's a nice sense of conflict established when Poppy thinks that music is meant to make you happy. But she never learns that sad songs actually do have a place in people's hearts. She doesn't learn that there's nothing wrong with letting out pent-up aggression. Oh, but everyone's quick to learn the lesson that it's okay to be happy and dance. It's just wrapped up in a half-baked message that we're all the same, but it's okay that we're different. Thanks, movie. I never would have guessed. There's also a frustrating line that the Queen of Funk says, voiced by Mary J. Blige, that goes something like, "Music reflects culture." Yeah, that's very true. That's exactly what art is meant to be.
Cultural artistic expression reflects philosophical evolution, interest in growth, perspective, observation, interpretation.
But how does this movie represent those cultures? How does Chaz, the jazz bounty hunter, reflect the New Orleans culture? How does the K-pop gang represent the Korean culture? The Funk Queen's line is a blanket statement that sounds nice on paper, but the movie as a whole doesn't back that up. In retrospect, this movie's villain shouldn't have been rock, but rather ignorance. It should have been a walkthrough of the different types of culture that these different genres represent. Walk us through the Jamaican culture and history through reggaeton. Walk us through how and why K-pop shot into popularity over the last decade. Believe it or not, it's possible to be educational and fun. Smaller issues include, I still hate Cloud Guy. The jokes can get pretty random. The Diamond family is not funny, and I don't care if Tiny Diamond is voiced by Kenan Thompson. I will never understand how this world works. It's like the writers just decide what's sentient and what isn't. Cooper gets his own section of the story. It's pretty pointless. We get it. James Corden is a plus-sized dude. Please stop making fat jokes in every single movie that you're in. It may not be bodily waste humor, but I will never get behind jokes about eating gumdrops that were just in your ears. It's gross. If history is written by the victors, how do we know your version is the truth? How did Poppy know about the yodelers? She knew that bounty hunters were after her, but Hickory never mentioned any specifics. 6 magical items that, when brought together, have unspeakable power. If I didn't know any better. Overall, I can't claim that this is better than the original. It's worse, but really not by much. The self-aware dumbness from the original is gone. The jokes very rarely land outside of Queen Barb and the Rock Trolls. The story and character motivations don't make sense, and the message could have been pushed in a more unique direction rather than the bland, forgettable route that it ultimately took. With all that said, though, I can't pretend that there isn't something here to enjoy. I will always be a fan of Rachel Bloom, and she has a great rendition of Rock You Like a Hurricane. And Queen Barb just cracks me up. There's a few visual gags here and there that were kind of cute, and none of the voice actors were bad. Ultimately, it's just a kids movie. It's pretty harmless. They'll enjoy it. For adults, not so much. My honest rating for Trolls World Tour, a week 3 out of 5. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. I really appreciate it. Have a great day. Hope to see you soon.